Hey, Diva. Hey. Oh, this may be an emotional session for you. I need you to do me a favor. Look at yourself in the mirror and say, I'm sorry. Ugh. Whew, that's a hard one, I know. Yep, you heard me right. I want you to look in the mirror and say, I'm sorry. And you, if you're asking, Mary, who am I saying I'm sorry to? Yourself. What I want you to do today is drop the guilt. Diva, so many of you have been walking around guilt conscious. It has preventing you from just living life to the fullest. You have to forgive yourself. Right now, at this very moment, as you are listening to me, I want you to tell yourself, I'm sorry. I love you and it's okay. Yes, you're saying all of that to yourself. You know why? Because you've blamed yourself for so many things, for not making the right decisions, for doing things that just didn't turn out right? The choices that you have made, the relationships that you have gotten into that didn't work out the way that you thought it would, right? Tell yourself, I'm sorry. Forgive yourself. Don't hold on to any more guilt from this day forward. Love yourself and move on. See, the faster that you can forgive yourself, the faster your life will change. The quicker you can tell yourself and mean it, that I'm sorry. I made these choices because it's what I felt I had to do at that time, in that moment, in that season of my life. Was it the best decision? Maybe not. Right? Were all the outcomes great? Maybe not. But it's okay. It was your past. It was decisions that you made because you had to. Right? You were that single mom as a teenager or a young adult. You did it because you had to. You chose not to go different places that you were supposed to go. Why? Because you had to, or you went places and did things that you otherwise would not have done, but you felt you had to. You just went through moments in your life that you just had to. And as you're telling yourself, I'm sorry, and that you're forgiving yourself, think about, I did it because I had to. But I am accepting, I'm embracing all of the things that I have done that may not have been the best choices and decisions. And it had created circumstances in my life that you may be not in such a good place right now because of those decisions. Tell yourself, I'm sorry. I did it because I felt I had to. I love you. It's okay. And let's walk in doing better. Let's walk in making better decisions. Let's walk in learning how to sit and wait for right opportunities, right timing, right decisions, right? You have to forgive yourself, though, because here's what happens. Because you are living and now making decisions in a place of guilt, Even the decisions that you may currently be making are not good decisions because you're making them in a place of guilt. You're guilt conscious, right? You are spoiling the child, giving them everything they want, not saying no because you feel guilty if you don't, because you know how it felt when you didn't have it all, right? It is so many things. You feel guilty about not being a good steward over your money and your finances, right? And so you make decisions out of that guilt that still may not be the best decisions. You know, you feel guilty of how you were in your first marriage. So you go into your second marriage with all of the guilt from your past, and you're not even operating in that marriage the way that you should. You are in a current relationship, but you feel guilty about the previous relationship that you had. And so therefore, you're not making the right decisions in the current relationship that you had. You made a bad decision, a bad business decision before. And so now you make no business decisions because you don't want to make the same mistake twice. Life is nothing but choices. Life is full of decisions. Some decisions are great and some are not so great. But none of it is a fail. I don't believe in failure because in everything that you do, you are learning something. What have you learned from that decision that you made? What have you learned from that precarious situation that you found yourself in? What have you learned? And if you can pull away from it what you have learned, what you know not to do, what you know to do more of, you have won. There's no reason to sit in guilt. People will try to make you feel guilty about your past. People will try to make you feel guilty about decisions that you have made. People will try to keep you in the place of guilt of who you were before versus who you have decided your life or how you're going to be in your life in the present. I need you to drop the guilt, Diva. I need you to drop your guilt, drop the guilt. Give yourself permission to forgive yourself for the bad relationships with your parents. Forgive yourself for the bad relationships with your siblings. Forgive yourself. It's the only way that you are going to be able to move forward in peace and in joy, in love, in all of the things that God has for you. Forgive yourself. Listen, I want you to do an exercise for me. I want you to write yourself a letter. And I want you to title that letter, I am sorry. Yeah, I told you this is going to be a hard one. Tell yourself, I'm sorry. Entitle it. And then I want you to write down and release all of the guilt that you have been holding on to. All of the bad decisions that you have made in life, that you've kicked yourself for, that you have put yourself in a sense of depression for, that you have lived a life of unhappiness for. I want you to write it all down, all of the relationships, all of just the financial woes, all of the bad decisions. Just write them out and forgive yourself for it. I am sorry. And then you're going to start your letter off with Dear Mary, I forgive you for ... I forgive you, and release it. Oh, and release it. Now, after you finish with the letter, I don't want you to keep it. I want you to take that letter and burn it up. I want you to take that letter and set it afire, because all of the things that you felt guilty about will burn up in flames with it. You're releasing it. You are letting it go. It is no longer a thought, and it no longer plays a part of who you are today. The decisions that you make today, right? You want to release the guilt and then make a commitment to yourself to do better. I didn't say be perfect. I said make a commitment to yourself to do better in all the things. Do better. If that means picking up the phone and asking for forgiveness to somebody that you know you hurt, do it. If that means making better financial decisions and not spending like, let me tell you, that'd be a hard one for me sometimes. Not spending, overspending, right? And saving like you should, or investing in other areas, then make a decision to do that. If that's loving on people more, make a decision to do that. Let go of the guilt. Stop hating yourself. Stop hating other people. Stop holding on to it. And don't let anybody else keep you in that place. See, sometimes we have to learn to cut off people and cut off conversations. There may be some people that, they're just a part of your life. They're a part of your life, family, right? And so sometimes they will bring things up of your past to keep you in that place. You have a choice to sit there and listen to that. You have a choice to respond to it or not. If you just don't respond, who looks crazy, them or you? Them. Because they're talking to somebody that is no longer in existence. You're not that person anymore, right? And so if you're talking to somebody that's no longer in existence, then you look real crazy doing that. So they do. You have to decide not to respond to that. You have to decide to remove yourself from those conversations. I'm telling you, I do funny stuff, y'all. Don't laugh at me, divas. Don't laugh at me. I do funny stuff. Like, if somebody is talking about something that I'm like, that was the past, I don't relate to that, I'd either don't say nothing or I immediately change the conversation with something crazy. Oh, isn't it a beautiful day? Mary, remember when you did such and such? You know what? I think I'm going to go to the movies today. They're going to look at you like, what? What is she talking about? That is not what we talking about. I don't know what you're talking about, but I know what I'm talking about. That's control. That's taking control of your life, control of what you choose to receive in your space. Because one or two things are going to happen. The conversation will either change or that person will not be in conversations with you anymore. Either way, you're not going to have to deal with that because you set the tone of what you are going to talk about, the space that you're going to live in, the things and people that you are going to be around. You set that tone. So it's for you not to allow people to keep you guilt conscious. Stop being guilt conscious. Do not live in the guilt. Drop the guilt. This will be a freeing exercise for you. It is going to set you so free, y'all. So I challenge you, do the work. Do the work. Do the exercise. Don't skip it. And be honest with yourself. You're the only one that's going to see it. Nobody else is going to see it. You're going to burn it up. So you might as well not lie to yourself. Put it all out there. Write it all. Release it all. Release the bad marriages. Release the abortions. Release the shacking ups. Release the bad job decisions. Release the bad business decisions. Release the bad money and credit decisions. Release it all. We have, listen, been there, done that. Okay? You have to release it all. So, Diva, are you ready to release the guilt? Are you ready to drop it? Are you ready to burn it up? Are you ready to become a better version of you? You are who you are, but become a better version of you. Are you ready to respond differently, to talk differently, to hear differently, to see differently? I hope you are. Write the letter, drop the guilt, love yourself. And if you don't know how to love yourself, you got to listen to the episode that talk about love. Love yourself. Are you ready? Let's walk.